What's up, guys? Thanks for coming out. Super excited about this season. We feel like the continuity and certainly be led by Coach Finch and his staff. They've done a great job this summer challenging you guys to get better. We like our core. We like that we're going to be competing in a loaded Western Conference. And I don't like monologues. So, any questions?
Tim, for this year to be a success, what needs to happen?
Is to be better than last year. We've got to win a playoff series. It's been way too long since we've had success in the postseason. So, I don't think we have a specific win total. I think we'll see more parity in the Western Conference than we've seen in a long time, especially when you don't see a lot of teams that tanking is the wrong term, but I don't think as many teams are as aware of draft status this year than maybe last couple of years. So, as long as we're better than we were last year, but let's be honest, we have to have success in the postseason for us to be taken seriously.
When you look back at that small sample size at the end of the year where you had some guys healthy and playing, how do you kind of decide how much stock you put in that and how much is still to be known about what this team can do together?
You guys know me now. I'm pretty obnoxiously optimistic, so I put a lot of stock in it. I think oftentimes the players know the best. And I think our group feels confident in their ability to win at a pretty high level. At times, we certainly didn't do that. Our record against sub-500 teams was reflective of that. And at times, you referenced that stretch where I thought we played really good basketball. And it seemed to be we found a bit of an identity where our size was really a real good indicator of success. So, we like what we have. We're bringing back just pretty much the entire rotation. Again, we love our coaching staff. We love our core pieces, and fingers crossed that the optimism is well placed.
Sorry, real fast. Can you guys just wait for a microphone and then state your name?
Full name, sir.
What specific ways do you think Mike Connelly helped you?
Just his ability to he brings such a calming influence, and he's so positive. I think not just professional sports life right now is not really defined by positivity, and Mike comes in with a smile every day. He's seen everything and anything that could happen on an NBA court. So the combination of positivity and the common influence, and coupled with the fact he's a really good basketball player. We kind of joke that I don't think enough people talk about how good he is still. We talk about him being the grizzled vet, the veteran leadership voice, but he's still a heck of a player. So in unison, all those things make him a real special addition, and we're lucky to have him.
Given his value in looking at your roster near term, beyond the season, have you talked at all about after this season?
Yeah, when we got Mike, our goal was for this to be the last spot. So you never know how things are going to develop, but certainly we didn't get Mike just to be a short-term thing. When you get a person as special as Mike is, you want to ensure that he doesn't leave here. And it's been really neat watching Mike and Mary not just adjust the team, but adjust the city. They love living in Minnesota. They bought a house. Mike's never been in a city with other professional sports franchises. So, Twins games, Viking games, Loons games. It's really cool to watch him and his family really buy in to complete this community.
Tim, I follow directions. Joe Schmidt, Channel 5. The question is, Ant had this terrific offseason. A lot of people are expecting him to take his game to the next level. Two-part question. What does that look like to you? And secondly, is this now Ant's team?
Yeah, I think all our success, and it's a consistent message that our players have heard all summer, they're going to hear tonight, we have a team dinner. It's all about team success. If we win, we'll be taken more seriously. If we win, the personal accolades will come. Relative to whose team, it's a collective team. We have to win to be taken seriously. And I don't think until you have postseason success, I don't think those things matter. So I think we have a core group that's really bought in, that's really connected, and is really excited about starting the season.
Hey, Tim, Jamal Collier from ESPN. I wanted to ask you about the partnership between Kat and Rudy, kind of specifically. What, a year later, have you maybe learned about those two playing together? What are you kind of eager to see from them this season to just kind of prove about their fit together?
Yeah, I think we certainly expect to be clunky initially, and then we got thrown a couple curveballs. Cat had a fantastic offseason last year, and then he got sick coming into the training camp, so we didn't have the benefit of training camp. Rudy's coming off a grueling European championship. I think the thing that's probably not talked about enough is how much sacrifice both those guys have made. Right? It's not, they're playing completely different roles. Prior to getting here, Rudy only knew one city, one set of teammates. So I think both those guys are very willing and capable of putting team in front of individual productivity. So I think what we learned as the season progressed is what spots can we find for them to be more successful. I think Coach Finch did a great job, and he was dealt a tough hand trying to make that work. And I thought in the playoffs, I thought those two were really good. Retrospectively, sometimes when you lose, you're so bummed out, and then the emotions subside. You look at the season as a whole. We had plenty of lows. We had more highs, and I was pretty proud of how those guys slowly but surely got to know each other. And I think the best combination basketball for those guys is yet to come.
Chris Hine from the Star Tribune. Tim, you talked a lot this summer about this team needing to be more mature. How do you, from your seat, kind of impose maturity and instead of having that be just something that comes naturally to some of the younger players on this team?
Yeah, I think it's collective. And when I say the team's mature, it's an organization has to mature. We can't hold players to standards that we're not ourselves held to. So, look, it's our lack of organizational success is very evident and clear. So until we take ourselves more seriously, no one else will take us more seriously. So there's been a very loud mandate and risen bar about how we handle ourselves. It's 82 games. There's no BCS. We can't take nights off. We had way too many nights last year where we didn't show up. And then against the elite teams, we show what we're capable of. So, a win's a win's a win. I mean, think about last year. Some of the losses we could have gotten back. We could have been a home court playoff team. We could have hosted the first playing game. So I think they're sick of hearing it, but I think they know it comes from a good place and know until we take those steps, we're not going to be where we want to be.
And are you optimistic you might be able to get something done with Jaden by the start of the season?
Yeah, certainly. I think we want to be an organization that rewards our players. I'm super proud of Jaden's development, both as a player and person. So we've had some really constructive conversation with his agents, and fingers crossed we get something done. The cool thing about any extensions talk is they're completely positive. You're a year ahead of it, so there's no gun to our head. But we had our druthers. We'd like to get something done sooner rather than later.
Dane Moore, Blue Wire. What would you most like to see Ant learn this season?
To do a post-game interview after winning a playoff series, that'd be great. He just approaching the game every night to the area he's in right now. He has elite talent. He's an elite person. So that pool of players is so small, and their ability to pull on it every night. You're not going to be great 82 nights a year, but every time you play, there has been expectation of elite habits and elite controllables. So that's our challenge to them.
And then with Rudy and just kind of in general with rim protection, how have you seen that kind of the value of elite rim protection evolve over maybe the past decade, and where is it at right now, and how much winning can that drive?
I think you got to be top 10 defense to win a championship. I think it's been pretty consistent. And there's a couple ways to do it. You can have a bunch of elite perimeter defenders. I think we have a couple elite perimeter defenders. And certainly the easiest way to do it is have rim protection. And not just rim protection, but defensive rebounding. So relative to rim protection and rebounding, Rudy's certainly shown what he can do in those areas. I think Rudy will be the first to tell you he had a good year by most standards, but by his standards, he wasn't where he was previously. So we're pretty excited to see a better version of what we saw last year from Rudy. I thought our defense and the numbers to support it with Rudy on the court was elite. How do we sustain that? It can't just be Rudy. We got Jaden and Ant. I think both guys could be all league defenders. I think Kyle's ability to guard all over the place was pretty unique and really was a godsend last year, especially with all the injuries. So we kind of like the defensive bones of this team.
Tim, Dave Campbell with AP. What would a successful season for Rudy look like to you?
Again, it's sounds like I'm sure repeating myself. I think a successful season for all of us is just winning more. Rudy's done everything individually that you could imagine. He's been all NBA. He's been an all-star. I think collectively we're going to be judged on the wins and losses, and can we finally make some noise in the postseason?
Tim, Jace Frederick, Pioneer Press. Coach Finch has talked a lot this summer about needing more structure in the offense. It's not something he's necessarily relied on in the past. What do you think the balance is between a coach kind of sticking to their beliefs of what is the best brand of basketball versus being malleable to, I guess, best support their roster?
I think the greatest thing about Finch, and there's a laundry list because he's just a brilliant coach and a great guy, is we have constant conversations, and the coach's job is to maximize their roster, and that's what Finch has done and is going to do. So he's not so dogmatic about this or that. If he sees something that he thinks can improve the team through strategy, he's going to do it. So it's really neat to work with a coach like Finchy, who's so open and constantly challenging not just the players but himself. How can I get better? How can we get better? So I think his ability to kind of adjust and tweak is as good as I've ever seen.
John Krasinski from The Athletic. Tim, this is Jaden's first time going through a contract extension kind of talk. Do you have conversations with him just as he's kind of seeing a little bit of the business side too, in addition to all the playing?
Yeah.
And how do you work through that?
Grabbed him the other day. This is anytime that you have extension talks, it's a wonderful sign that both the organization and player want to further cement the relationship. So this year should be fun. At times contractual negotiations can be contentious, but certainly not in an extension year. It's a great pat on his back to say that we're so actively trying to get something done. It's reflective of all his work and his productivity, and again, not just as a player, but as a person. So should never get weird. We're the luckiest guys in the world. We're just talking about how many zeros players are going to get. So and he gets it, and he's a great guy, and I think he's enjoying this, and I think he's excited about what this year's going to look like.
Max Fuller here from KFAN. It's my first time here, so nice to meet you.
What's up, Max?
First question, do front office people trash talk each other like players do?
Oh, you should hear me and Pat Riley. No, absolutely not. I mean, I don't. No, I haven't won enough to trash talk anybody. So, no trash talk here. A ton of respect for everyone else in the different seats. There's a pretty good sense of fraternity. It's a really fun job, but at times a pretty hard job. So no, there's no trash talking from my seat.
What player on this roster do you think is poised to make the biggest leap this season?
That's a good question. The easy one is Ant, coming off the great summer. I had a great summer. I don't think it's been talked about enough. And Nickel with his playing Team Canada. Nickel has played, I think, for 4 or 5 coaches, has been traded twice. He came over as part of the Mike Conley trade and was uncertain. He was worried about finding a role here. And I thought he was fantastic in the postseason. He was fantastic late in the season. And I think another guy that has all league defensive potential.
Kyle Teige, Score North. Last summer was kind of a whirlwind for you with changing jobs and the draft and free agency and the trade and then kind of a weird training camp. After a year under your belt, do you feel kind of more comfortable here in this role and being in Minnesota?
Yeah, 2,000%. Nowhere to eat, nowhere to get my hair cut. Other day we did my wife did. I didn't do much. We did our first charitable event and saw a bunch of friendly faces. So it's, kids are settled. When I got here, my wife was going through a pretty tough pregnancy. We had a kid here, so we got a Minnesotan. Is that right, Britt? Official Minnesotan for the Massachusetts guy. I like it. So yeah, it's a whole, and I knew Finchy well, didn't know the players well. When I got here, I told these guys, you can't rush trust. I can't tell you to trust me. I think we're gonna have to get through a year, and a year later, there's not any conversation I'm reluctant to have with these guys because I feel like we've been through a lot, and now the ability to have tough conversations can only be created through time and different interactions. So I feel a whole lot better and a whole lot more comfortable than last year. I think back there.
Pete Rose, BMA Networks. Tim, you seem like a really nice guy. Most of the, team presidents nice like you. And what do you expect at the end of the season? What are your goals for this team this year?
I try to be nice, but some of these local media guys who live in Wisconsin make it hard. It's where this is a really, really hard league. So we're really focused on inputs. If we do everything we can do to control the controllables, we work harder than everybody else. If we're good teammates, not just players, but throughout the organization, and we play as hard as possible, we lose, we can live with it. Last year at times we didn't do that. So we just have to consistently control the controllables. Again, our players are sick of me saying it. I think if you do that and you have enough talent, we have great ownership. We have a fantastic coach. Sometimes your cards comes up. I don't think there's a linear path to success. Looking back, so much fun watching Denver win the championship. Denver lost 4-1 2 years ago in the first round to the eventual champion. We lost 4-1 last year, the eventual champion. That's not a linear path for us to win the championship, but I think you have to focus on inputs. And the more you do that, the more you create culture. It's an overused term, but I think it's really, really important. You give yourself a chance. And then it's matchups. Are you healthy in the postseason? We kind of limped in the postseason last year. We're down 3 of our top 7 guys. And you can live with the results. So I think for us, collectively, if we're healthy, we feel like we're a team that can make noise in the playoffs. We got to get there, and that won't be easy. And that's the ultimate goal, and I think it's an attainable one. One question only, Jay. Sorry.
Tim, do you think there's anything with the roster that may make it difficult to be consistent through a regular NBA season, just given the way that this team matches up probably really well against some teams, maybe not so well in others, where it might be like, wow, this looks like 2 different teams, but that could be a little bit matchup dependent?
Yeah, I think if it was more of a one-off, but our issues last year were pretty consistent versus, some of the losses we had, some of the season sweeps we had, we're the only teams that got swept by those teams. So I don't think there's always going to be certain teams you match up better with, but I think our depth is pretty unique when we're healthy. I think we can play different styles, but I think it's more internal improvement and not specific to skill set, more internal improvement to mindset.
Tim, what are you excited about with Shake Milton and Troy Brown?
Their positional versatility, their size. Shake's really interesting. Shake's played for great Philadelphia teams that have won 50+ for numerous years, and his numbers as a starter have been really impressive. When he's had a consistent role, he's been a really, really good NBA player. His ability to get in the paint and make late finishes and late passes, I think, will be really beneficial. Troy's, it's pretty fascinating. Troy's 24 and it's going to 6th or 7th year. I thought last year he gave really good minutes to a really good Lakers team. His ability to rebound the ball, he makes quick decisions with the ball. I think his ability to read the court and see things is something that really appealed to Finch. So I think versatility and really they're young vets. Both of them are young, but both of them played a lot of basketball. So their ability to hit the ground running.